directed by Andrew Niccol. Niccol?
Niccol? Yeah,
Niccol,
sure.
something like that. He did Gattaca, Lord of War. So he's into the sci-fi. This is a sci-fi movie. Justin Timberlake is in a ghetto or in a time when mankind has done the impossible. They've done away with aging. Everybody is genetically engineered to live to 25, and then you're given a year to live, and that year is now your currency. So you go buy a coffee, you take 3 minutes of your life. You win at poker, you take somebody's 40 years of life. It's really interesting. Time is money. Literally, yeah. So he's growing up in the ghetto where they're living. They wake up with their 24 hours to live, and they go earn money at the plants or whatever blue collar work they do to get the next day to live.
Yeah,
whereas,
living day to day.
Yeah, and Justin Timberlake has a horribly dramatic moment. He's also the son of some huge political movement guy, but he doesn't know him because he died when he was young.
Yeah, the Che Guevara of
he has
sci-fi.
So he has this political agenda deep within his mind, and an emotional moment happens, and he is forced to go into the political world. He comes across an immortal, guy that's lived hundreds of years, and he's decided to commit suicide, and he gives his century and a half to Justin, who then uses it to break into the upper class. And from there, it just escalates. He meets Amanda Seyfried, who's the daughter of the wealthiest man, or the most alive man ever. The most ageless man ever. And he weasels away in through poker and stuff, and eventually he kidnaps Amanda Seyfried, and it becomes a Bonnie and Clyde situation. Mm-hmm. That's basically how the plot goes. Great movie. I'm not gonna lie. I really like. I've given it a B+. Okay. I think this is how sci-fi should be. It's got yes, it's predictable, but this movie's supposed to be predictable. They have countdowns on their. You know when you're going to die. So when somebody dies and it was predictable, I'm like, okay, they knew they were going to die anyway.
Yeah, the movie's kind of telling you.
The movie is predictable, yes, but I think it's supposed to be. So I mean, I'm sitting there. People, they're gambling. Their clock runs down to like 3 seconds, and I'm going. And my wife's like. I'm like, okay, you're bored. But I really enjoyed it. I was on the edge of my seat. Even though things were predictable, I was still really captured, ready to be. I'm like, Justin Timberlake, you can take me anywhere. I did like the Bonnie and Clyde aspects where things just got all action and awesome, because that's sci-fis are supposed to be. Cillian Murphy's character is the cop who chases him down.
The timekeeper.
The timekeeper, and his little... how he's also poor even though he's in charge of all this, and I don't know, he had depth to his character that I liked. Whether or not he pulled it off acting wise, I'm not sure, but I liked his character. Yeah, I mean, the only reason I can't give it an A- is because the overstatement of the plot. I mean, they literally say the meaning of the message of the movie outright like 4 times.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that was a little. So other than being a bit hokey, fantastic sci-fi movie.
All right, cool. I give it a C-. I agree that this is the type of sci-fi that sci-fi is supposed to be, and I think Andrew Niccol kind of fancies himself a Philip K. Dick of the modern day. He did Gattaca and that movie Simone and Lord of War. And I like that he's a writer-director. He's doing original work still, because there's not a lot of those left anymore, especially in the Hollywood world. But I felt like this movie felt less like an Andrew Niccol movie and more like a star vehicle for Justin Timberlake. And I feel like Timberlake and Amanda Seyfried, I never really bought their characters because they're just not that good. Yeah. And I don't think that I've seen Timberlake be better. Obviously, he was in Social Network last year. He's very good. And he's good in comedy a lot of the times. But I feel like he's a director that has to, or he's a actor who has to be challenged by his director, and I don't know if Niccol was really concerned with getting a performance out of them rather than just let them be pretty and let them be in the movies and say their lines with pretty faces. And that's pretty much all they did. There's some emoting that they were supposed to do that I really didn't buy, and that took me out of the movie greatly. I feel like the story is too concerned with its own sci-fi rules. We're told about how time is money and time is a clock and and this costs this, and there's a lot of scenes where they're showing transactions, and I feel like by about the 20-minute mark, I was like, okay, I get it. Like I get the rules. Let's like get into the plot finally, and the plot kind of takes a while to get started. I feel like it's about 45 minutes in that we really jump into this whole like futuristic Robin Hood thing, which is basically is. You know, he's stealing from the rich and giving to the poor. That's what he wants to do. He wants to be revolutionary. Or the Bonnie and Clyde aspect of it, which I don't feel gets fully developed either. And I feel like if they jump to the chase a bit sooner in the movie rather than going on and on and on about the rules, then we could have dug in a little deeper on some of those kind of themes. Honestly, I feel like the acting that surprised me the most, well, not Cillian Murphy, because he's generally very good in everything, and I thought he was really good in this movie, and I think he's a vastly more interesting character, and it would have been more interesting to see maybe him as the main character, see this story from his perspective, but, you know, the script is what it was. And I feel like Alex Pettyfer, who kind of plays this low-rent crook,
the
time
gangster
thief.
guy. It was fantastic.
Yeah, I've seen him in some crap lately and wrote that guy off really early on. But if this is what Alex Pettyfer can be, well, first of all, I think he's really British and he should stick with his normal accent because he acts more naturally in it. Then I want more of that Alex Pettyfer. And the movie looks really, really good because it's cinematography is done by Roger Deakins, who often works with the Coen brothers, and he's very good DP. So the movie looks nice, and it's pretty stylish, but I feel like the story's just too all over the place and kind of boring.
Fair enough.
So
I was on the edge of my seat. All right, that's all we got today. Don't forget to check us out on YouTube.